Hey everybody, welcome to another Good e-reader comparison video. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Today we're going to take a look at the Google Nexus 7 second generation against the Apple iPad mini. We're going to take a look at the overall reading experience, see how sound and audio look. But first of all, you see the App Store here, and this is pretty well the big content destination. Whenever you're going to get or buy apps on either platform, this is going to be your one-stop solution. Now, with the Google App Store, it is in fact your one-stop solution. You have your videos, your magazines, your movies, everything else. But with Apple, they actually have it divided amongst two different programs. One is the App Store and the other one is iTunes. So iTunes is more of your multimedia type stuff, music, audiobooks, etc. And then you have the App Store, which is the first thing we looked at for all of the games and apps and both free and paid content. Google has basically just as you see here. So it's a small difference. I almost like the Google way a little bit better because you're not having to open and close two different programs. Everything's basically listed here.
I think I agree. I like the way Google has everything under the same hood, but I think this looks better and it's organized far greater.
All right, let's just take a look at specs very briefly. iPad mini 7.9-inch display, whereas the Nexus 7 second gen has 7. Resolution is a clear winner for the second gen Nexus. You have 1920 by 1200, whereas the mini's 1024 by 768. The Nexus also has a quad-core Snapdragon processor. It's 1.5 gigahertz versus the dual-core 1 gigahertz. The Mini, 512 MB of RAM, Nexus 7, 2 gigs of RAM, and obviously the Mini is more versatile with its storage options because you can get everything from 60 and 32, 64 and larger. They both don't have SD card support, but they both have this exact same front and rear facing camera, 1.2 megapixels on the front and 5 megapixels on the back. So pretty well you can see this is a bit bigger of a screen. This has way better resolution and a smaller screen. Well, how does that stack up when you're actually looking at content? And we're going to pursue this today. Given that we're Good e-reader, we're more concerned about the reading experience, but what the programs that we're looking at is indicative to basically anything that you're going to do on either of these tablets.
We're going to open up e-reading app first because we are Good e-reader, and we'll look at them side by side. Very obviously, the iPad mini has a significantly larger screen and uses the space way better. So don't be fooled by the 7 in the 7.9. It is essentially an 8-inch screen, so you're getting a lot more screen real estate. So you can see we're on the same page, but they display the text at different points because one is bigger and one's smaller. You get the same kind of experience here, although it's laid out a touch differently. Text change.
Yeah, what's the difference between the iOS version, which tends to get more support than the Android version of Kindle, as I've noticed.
Margins and line spacing, everything changes live. Black, sepia, or sepia, white. When you do that on here, it dies out. It actually goes and kills that little menu, so very minuscule issue. Page turns are both very fast. We've noticed that with a lot of things, it's not all about specs. It's not all about numbers. It's how you use it. The iPad mini has been trumped by many a tablet since its release, and yet its specs haven't changed. It's still running a dual-core 1 gigahertz, but it hasn't really fallen that far behind in terms of speed. I mean, it handles what it has very well, so I don't really think it has to do with numbers all the time. So the Apple has different color note-taking abilities, whereas you only have the one color on Android. You can box a lot of text, and you can make highlights or notes. And we're going to look at the keyboards while we do this. So these are the difference in the keyboards. Obviously, the Apple looks great. However, you see that everything's lowercase here. When you press the shift button, it goes to uppercase. When you press the shift button here, you don't know if it has gone to uppercase or not. So, and I know the little shift button lights up, but at the same time, none of the letters change. So it can be a little bit confusing.
It's a giant keyboard on the Nexus.
It is. It takes up, I would say, 40% of the screen. That's quite a bit of screen.
Yeah, I don't really see a point to that. Although, in retrospect, the one good thing about Android is that if you don't want the stock keyboard, you can install...
You can download an Apple keyboard on this if you wanted to.
Well, but I mean, what I'm
Themed.
saying is that with at least iOS 6, there's no really way to load in other keyboards.
Yes.
You're stuck with the default. Whereas Android, if you don't like the default, there's Swift key. There's all sorts of ones.
Absolutely. So this is the reading experience for an ebook. It's very consistent on both. They're both running Kindle, so they're both going to perform very well.
Okay, let's take a look at something a little bit more image heavy.
We're going to look at Zinio. We have the same art book loaded on both. You can see the colors are a little bit different, as is the resolution. So if you look at maybe the beams of light here, you'll see that they look a little more soft on the Apple because it's a bigger screen sporting less resolution, whereas this actually has a smaller screen and higher resolution. We'll obviously let you guys decide for yourself, but we'll just give you guys a full tour here, pinching and zooms. Looks like the Android version of this app tends to be a touch more choppy, whereas the Apple version seems to be a little bit more smooth. Colors are very nice on both. Both have very good screen technologies, so they're both bound to have very good quality. Now, the text you see here is embedded in the picture, so there aren't any reflow options or anything like that. You will have to pinch and zoom to get up to that text. This is the magazine experience on Zinio for both Android and iOS.
Okay, let's take a look at comic books, because one of the things that basically these tablets are used for is comics, and
Right.
there's no shortage of companies out there peddling their wares. We're looking at the same comic on both of these tablets here, just to give you a sense on if you're buying a tablet to consume this type of content, how do they stack up against each other,
Right.
iOS versus Android.
Obviously, we're going to leave it in portrait because look at that. It looks way better in portrait than it does in landscape. Comics were kind of meant for portraits, so I'll just give you guys a couple seconds to look at the differences there. Take into consideration the colors. Looks like the Nexus is a little bit more crisp. You can go panel by panel.
Yeah, despite the fact that, with this panel by panel, it looks like each panel on the Mini is actually a little bit bigger
Right, right.
than the one on Android.
I think the iPad Mini is still one of my favorite tablets for the screen size. It's the perfect screen size, and no one else has really done a 7.9. Everyone
No.
just seems to stick with 8.9s, 10s, and 7s, but this is a great size. It really is. It makes all the difference, even the little things like this. And
Yeah,
of
so
course-
I mean, the resolution is fairly comparable. I don't think either one is really shining, although you notice with the Mini, just with the extra inch in screen size, that the panels look a little bit bigger. You're fitting more on a singular screen, which is if you're reading on here and not really pinching and zooming, you can almost read the text easier on here. Here you're having to squint just because it's a smaller screen.
Yes, indeed. You are correct.
All right, let's take a look at the newspaper experience, because whether you're looking at replica PDFs or whether you're downloading the app from your local newspaper company, it's pretty well going to give you the same sort of experience. We're looking at Press Reader here, and as you can see by default, the Press Reader does what's known as replica edition. So it's XML, and you get sort of that PDF experience, but they have like a lot of hyperlinks, so you can click on the title of here, and then you could actually read the full article.
Any blue highlighted titles will actually allow you to read the article in article mode. With Android, you can actually swipe from article to article. Once you reach the end of the article on Apple, you can't swipe any further. You actually have to press this little button at the top to go to the next article.
So it's a few extra steps instead
Right.
of just swiping and gesturing.
But it does look how smooth that is, and then look how laggy this is. And this is in part to the fact that this is loading all of the articles to come. So as you see, as you swipe, it's loading every single other article.
Yeah, it's a design choice.
Right.
You know, you gotta crease the fonts here. The whole page basically refreshes whenever you do it.
Same with Android, the entire page refreshes as well. But you can get it big enough so you can read it very comfortably.
Yeah. Page turns, you know, it's more choppy on Android, like Peter said, because it's loading so many things and rendering so many things in advance, whereas with Apple, it's just loading a singular article, so you're going to get a more seamless experience. Of course, the Press Reader, you can have the articles get read aloud to you if you want, with a funky robot voice. But we much prefer just to read the article as is.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing I want to do is to test the video and audio quality. And what we're going to do is just load up a quick video and then show you side by side how these both stack up against each other.
Something's different. You can see it. What can you see? Oh.
You saved us. I know that. I can't go on acting for the cameras and then...
Chance to be eliminated. I agree, but in the right way, at the right time.
We have to go before they kill us. They will kill us.
People want to fight.
I'm staying here. They fought very hard in the games, as ever did. But they were games. Would you like to be in a ring?
So we just saw the video of the Hunger Games 2 second trailer. We'll let you guys kind of judge which one performed better, or if you thought that they performed equally. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment on this YouTube video. We're going to finish it off with Safari on the iPad mini and Chrome on the Nexus 7 second gen. My thoughts on the web browsing experience and overall experience on the mini is that this is very small. Look how small the text is, look how small the icons are, and then look how large and crisp that they are on the Nexus. I think it's mainly just because of the way that the mini was made. It basically took an operating system that was designed for a 9.7-inch tablet and stuck it into an 8-inch tablet, so you're going to have those trade-offs with text appearing very small, even like the windowed text here on the tabbed browsing. I can't even read that unless I have to squint. It's too small. So that's just my thoughts on it. Overall, that 1-inch display really makes a difference when it comes to graphic heavy content. Comic books, magazines, newspapers, and ebooks were fairly similar, although the mini did display more text on each singular page. It's really the difference between iOS and Android and which operating system that you like a little bit better. Of course, the Nexus 7 really trounces almost every other 7-inch tablet on there in terms of specs, RAM, processor, resolution. It's fairly solid. It'll be very interesting to see further in the year when Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, and all those other companies release their next tablets in time for the holiday season. Peter, final thoughts?
I think this is a good display of the fact that it's not all about the written numbers on the spec sheet, because this has a dual-core 1 GHz, whereas this is a 1.5 quad, and just about in every reading experience, Zinio, Press Reader, and Comixology, the Apple was smoother, sleeker, less lag, less choppy than the significantly faster Nexus 7. So it really goes to show you it's about more than just what the numbers are, it's how they use it. And Apple has always used the technology they have to just as good or better than the competition. So pair that with a great screen size, super thin build, aluminum glass construction. iPad mini is and has been and will be an awesome tablet to compete with pretty much anything that's going to come out. It's always going to be a competitor, it's always going to be a contender, and it's it's just it's a great experience. And on the Nexus 7, I think it is a tremendous value, because for what you get on this device, it's about $229 to $269 depending on your region. So they both have their ups and downs. They both have their pros and cons. They're both great devices. We're not trying to pick a winner here. We're just showing you the differences between both and how it's like to read on each of these devices, because that's what we're all about, the reading experience.
All right, so you heard our thoughts. Let's hear yours. YouTube.com/GoodyReader is our YouTube channel. Leave a comment and we'll get back to you. But, start a discussion. Which of these tablets do you like better and why? And do you think that the Nexus 7 high specs make it a better investment than the iPad? Of course, price is a big difference. And for GoodyReader.com, and a review and comparison of the iPad mini versus Google Nexus 7 second generation. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Everybody take care.